dropping the hammer.
No, you're not.
Coverage. So you missed out on
Oh no.
the pre-race festivities on Fox Sports, and just the most I don't even know how to describe it. Skits the Fox Sports has just ridiculous skits that Fox Sports has ever done. And then after the skit, a song parody that no one asked for. Like, so the they did a skit with starring Ron Howard's younger brother, Clint Howard. I'm pretty sure it was him. It looked like him. Dressed up to look like a watermelon seed, because during Ross Chastain's victory celebration at Coda, he had a seed on the corner of his mouth, and apparently somebody noticed and said, "Hey, let's do a skit about that seed." And so you have Clint Howard, who's a respected actor. I don't think I've ever heard of Edwards said about Clint Howard pretending to be the seed on Ross Chastain's mouth and pretending like he's now a celebrity because he was the seed on the corner of Ross Chastain's mouth. And it did not go over well. It shouldn't have gone over well. And the song parody, they decided to do a parody of the song "Rich Girl" by Hall & Oates, and it's instead of "Rich Girl," it's Richmond or whatever. So yeah, this is a trend with Fox Sports, where they lean so far into the comedy or attempts at comedy during 90-minute pre-race shows, instead of, time devoted to previewing the track, previewing the race. Do you remember the thing before the Las Vegas race with the guys dressed up in look to make you think they're Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott?
Right.
And I don't know who conceived it, but it wasn't funny. It added nothing to the show, and it felt like, what's funny is it felt like it was supposed to be like an ongoing bit. But I'm pretty. I don't remember ever seeing anything like that on there. Maybe I just wasn't watching that day. I don't know. But so what do you like? You tweeted this out to your followers, and you got a lot of responses. And I've actually brought up that tweet so we can read off some examples. So, what do you want from pre-race shows, NASCAR pre-race shows, Phil? What do you want?
As far as pre-race shows, honestly, in Fox's case, I would like to see them do more of what they do for race day before they throw it to the pre-race show, where, you have an analyst and then you have a former crew chief there to talk about the race, talk about, what they're expecting to see, kind of what they used to do. And this is the thing, Fox hasn't always been that kind of over the top. If you look at any of the broadcasts between, I'd say probably when they started in 2001, all the way to right at probably around the time when they went with, the cartoon with Digger.
Yes.
That's when I think they kind of were like, oh, well, people are going to buy this. Oh, they're going to go out and buy merch for this. And me as a 18, 19-year-old adult at the time was like, no, I don't want this. I want to hear, how's Jeff Gordon going to do today? Or how's Jeff Burton at this track? Whereas now, like you say, they're leaning into what people don't want. And
but I think because we're talking about it, it must be a good thing, Phil.
Right.
Right?
No, never. It's not always a good thing in that situation. Um, but for them, it's just like they kind of need to get back to basics. And I've heard rumblings where they're asking people, what do you want to see as far as a pre-race show goes, because they're understanding now that they are kind of catching a bunch of flack for it. And for me, like I say, if you look through the coverage, not even, Fox was standing, if you look back to ESPN or CBS, you only got 15, maybe 15 to
Yeah,
20 minutes of the broadcast to sit there and say, oh, hey, this is what's going on in the track. This is how qualifying went. This is how, this is maybe one little public interest story about it, or something that's going on affecting the driver. Somebody might have been sick since Friday, and if they have somebody on standby or something like that. Whereas I don't need a skit about a watermelon seed that was hanging off of a driver's mouth because he decided to bite a watermelon after he won a race. It's just like that's too much. And I
like
think
if I were doing it, like I've had this idea for a while now, and I wish someone would use it. Like, do a
mhm,
skit where Ross actually have Ross, not someone dressed up as a seat, where you have Ross doing if you're going to do a skit, do a skit where Ross is meticulously choosing which watermelon to smash. Like,
right,
like that would be funny to me.
right.
Um,
See, that feels like something that, and me and you are about the same age with when ESPN used to do the This Is Sports Center commercials.
yeah,
Where they would have somebody do something that looked out of the norm, like back when Jimmy Johnson had to try to dig up a speed bump.
yeah. Or Dale Jr. like working under uh someone's like desk in the sports center
Right,
office,
yeah.
like
Trying to
like
get
he's
his
working
chair
underneath a
or whatever.
car.
Yeah. Yeah, those type of things. Those are funny because one, they're not, where it's taking up a whole bunch of time. Uh, Whereas where that could be used for more information about the race. And that's what a lot of people are saying. And like you say, we're gonna go through some of the responses. But a lot of people were saying, give it more of that atmosphere that they had, and especially like Speed Network had
Mm-hmm.
with trackside. That's what a lot of people are asking for. And
It was like college game day.
yeah,
And if you want NASCAR to be like other more popular sports, that you had it. That was on Speed, which was kind of like its own like
right,
independent thing that
yeah,
which was focused on uh fans who were in the sport. Um,
right,
and that wasn't even on a network that had cup races, right? Their cup races weren't
right,
aired
yeah,
on
yeah.
Speed.
The only thing that they
So
had on Speed was like practice and qualifying,
yeah. So
and yeah, he ended up turning into now. So it was a bunch of house, but at the same time, if you didn't have cable, for the longest time before, you know, cord cutting and stuff like that, it wasn't, you know, if you had something on, race day or, on trackside or whatnot, if you didn't hear about it, they normally sometimes wouldn't bring it up on Fox. So,
I think a real problem though is that it's 90 minutes of pre-race that you do like
right,
an hour. You do an hour on FS1, and then you go over for like 30 minutes on the main Fox. But that might technically be two separate programs, but for all intents,
exactly.
it's just one long show. And sometimes they repeat stuff in that final 30 minutes that was on the FS1 broadcast, which I get. I totally get that.
Right.
But it's 90 minutes, and that's a lot of time to fill. Um, and other sports like NFL Sunday, each CBS and Fox each have their own pre-game shows, but those are lengthy pre-game shows for multiple games.
Right.
This is just
But
one race on a Sunday that we're previewing.
right. And this is the thing though. If we want to go off of that, Fox NFL Sunday, which does a mix of and this is another thing too, because Fox NFL Sunday has been kind of guilty of that
Yeah.
as well with the scripts.
Frank
Yeah,
Caliendo, Rob
yeah,
Riggle. Yeah.
yeah. But the thing is, they are only an hour long, and they'll fit maybe a 2-minute sketch in, but the rest of it is interviews with with the matchups that are playing, or going out to a reporter or somebody that's at the game. Whereas if Fox Fox can they have enough help where they have Regan Smith, or they have uh Jamie Little, that can go around, talk to the drivers. And I get it. Drivers are coming from, appearances or different things.
Yeah.
But back in the day, they used to stop by somebody's hauler while they were getting ready, or if they were waiting outside the hauler with the driver. And maybe things are a little bit different now with COVID as far as how the garage area works and how early they can get access to people. But it's just like, go back to what worked best for you if
Mhm.
you're worried about what you know where how where are you going wrong right now.
And I think another problem is like, I wrote my weekly column at Frenchers.com about this, about
Mhm.
the problem with pre-race. And part of it is like they're desperate to like grab onto the mysterious average viewer. And we're NASCAR's averaging like 3 to 4 million viewers.
Right.
This is the basically the base of NASCAR is what's tuning in, and I don't get why they think a living watermelon seed skit is going to get anyone's attention.
Right.
It makes no sense.
And the thing is, they know, they see our tweets, trust me.
Yeah.
They're not dumb. And I just it's just like, I don't know if they're locked into half of these things, but by Tuesday or Wednesday what you're going to show on that broadcast Sunday.
Hmm.
And whereas, you're filling time with the watermelon seed, you can have another interview like they had a couple of weeks ago with Austin Dillon, like when he, the thing about him buying the PBR team.
Mm.
You can have that thing where it's a sit down with one of your uh, pit reporters or something. Don't give me, the filler that I don't need, because at least when you're talking to me about something else, you're going to ask the driver a question about this week, how they feel, or, you know, what they're looking forward to about the race. Whereas that watermelon seed sketch is just a random niche moment where if you were paying attention, you remember he had the watermelon seed there. I didn't even know about the watermelon seed on Saturday's face. I just thought it was a random
Surely
gravy.
you've seen like a screen grab or capture of Clint Howard as the seed.
Oh, I've seen it because I tweeted it out because
Okay.
somebody had it, and I said Fox is having a real one on the broadcast. Let's see. I was just like, and it's a shame I'm there to miss it. But like you said, we had a couple of weeks ago with the I don't even know what movie that was supposed to be making fun of with uh Larson and Elliott, because
What was it supposed to be a movie? I didn't know they were making fun of a movie.
yeah, I don't know if it was it. Oh my god, somebody tweeted out what it was in reference to, but I was just
Well,
like,
was it
this
like
is.
leaving Las
It might have
Vegas?
been
Was
Leaving
that
Las
was
Vegas.
that
I
it?
think it
Okay.
was.
That never. That's like how old is that movie?
Yeah, like they both of them have probably never even seen it.
And
That's my thing.
also Rich Girl by Hall Notes. How old is that song?
Yeah, that
These
song is
aren't
literally
timely.
like 45 years old.
These aren't timely references. Like a few years ago, for one of the Las Vegas races, they did one that made fun of the Hangover, which
Right.
it was kind of, I kind of was okay with it. That's timely. It came out in the last 12 years.
That's giving him a lot of credit
Yeah, but the race broadcasts need to respect the viewer and the sport. Those should, like around my column, those should be the same thing.
now. Right.
We're already watching. You don't have to give us the hard sell while we're watching. We're already here. Just treat us like adults. Like it's this. I don't get. This shouldn't be complicated. It's
Right.
why I much prefer the NBC portion of the year, and that's not biased because I used to be paid by NBC Sports. It is
Right.
objectively a more adult, mature presentation of the sport. Aside from
Right.
the um the guy in the flannel. Um,
Oh yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name. Why can't I think of his name? What's his
Who is
name?
it? Oh, Rutledge.
Rutledge. Aside from Rutledge Wood, all
Yeah.
due respect to Rutledge,
Yeah. But
he
even
doesn't
for
bring.
Rutledge though, they throw to him like during a caution or a red flag or something like that. Whereas Fox, where he's a former employee over there as well. They would probably have used. Well, okay, I'll say he was on a speed limit, but even at that, there was still an arm of Fox. But like you say, it's just like NBC seems to get it right, and a lot of people, and I mean, people didn't, or at least the responses that I read, they didn't say, look at the NBC format, but that's always something that I've looked at too. At least with them, in their pre-race, you've got three other drivers, three drivers that have been there. Whereas, you've got with Fox, you've got Boyer, who, I don't want to say self-admittedly, if you look at him, he comes off as like kind of a goofy type of person. You know, that's where I think he and a lot of people gave him flack for Jeff Gordon being on there, but at least with Jeff, it balanced it out. Whereas Jeff kind of felt like I guess if you want to go by the original format, like the Larry Mack in the situation. But there were a lot of times where there would be lulls in conversation with those two, mostly because they kept trying to push this thought that both of them were, still rivals after
Yeah,
Phoenix
it's
almost
been
10 years ago.
yeah. It's like okay. I write about this in my column.
Hmm.
The common theme with Fox Sports is that they take something that starts off cool, like Digger. This is a really cool camera angle. This is awesome. And then it transforms into a cartoon character. And Fox beats you over the head with this thing you once thought was cool, and now you can't stand it.
Right.
That is the common theme with Fox. They take something cool and then they distort it in such a
Right.
horrible way. So this one thing with Clint Boyer and Jeff Gordon happened 10 years ago. Do you want to bring it up once? That's fine. Yeah. But do we have to do it every time we go to Phoenix?
Hmm.
I mean, come
Like,
on.
oh, hey, remember when Clint got mad and got out of the car and went to go kill Jeff? And
Yeah.
like,
But the cameras on the front of visors start off cool, but we don't need you to tell us how cool it is.
right.
And
Oh man, he's really letting us see how this is going on. It's like, okay, you've done this about 200 races in a row now, and
yeah,
it
it's just
kind of wore off. And if you think about it too, it's nothing special I mean, it might be more special to the kids today, but hell, I think Richard Petty wore one on his in his last start. He had a helmet camera at that.
I don't know what's happened, but like Fox Sports has just become obsessed with onboard cameras in like the
Yeah,
last couple of years. Like,
especially after Daytona this year. And they even, and I sometimes I feel bad for Mike Joy because Mike is out there staunchly defending Fox, and I
yeah,
get that. That's his that's the people that sign his paychecks. But, he can't control
yeah,
all of those camera angles. He can't control, what they put out there as far as product. But, I think now they're at that point now where they're starting to see the blowback, and the only person that people seem to know over at Fox is Mike. And it's like, well, let me voice my opinion to you that this is how we want this to go. This is how we want a broadcast to go. And then, you'll look at Fox and then they'll say, oh, well, we like what we're seeing. No, well, I mean, if you like it, then that's fine. But the fans at home. And it's like you said, the most important thing is do not dumb the product down to the average person that knows what's going on already. We get it. You may have that uh, fan that's just turning in because they saw the ad. Like, I'm sure we get maybe, I'd say maybe 100,000 new people that may tune in for a little bit when they see previews of Talladega or Daytona
yeah.
because it's a sizzle reel of wrecks
And
and
now Atlanta.
yeah, now Atlanta, yeah, where they're promoted as, oh, these are going to be beating and banging, these guys are going to be you know uh, with less room to breathe, and then you get the incidents, and then you wonder why fans turn on, why fans or original fans of the sport kind of turn out, because or tune out because they're tired of seeing promotions of Newman's wreck, or watching that clip of Harrison Burton sliding on his roof at Daytona.
Mhm.
uh it's more of, we get what you're trying to do, but you also got to remember you've got fans that have been watching the sport for 40 and 50 years that don't like what they're seeing anymore, and they'll tell you that's part of the reason why they're turning away.
I'd rather be overloaded with information than
Mm-hmm.
give it to me piecemeal.
Right.
Um, but like, I mean, NBC Sports has its own, annoying things like playoff implications. Gets, I think, uttered every
Yeah.
few minutes.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's a Dale Jr. special there.
but
Like,
just
big playoff implications. Like, he literally just got a flat tire. He may be all right.
yeah, they took Dale Jr.'s slide job thing and
Overdid it.
beat that into the ground.
Yep.
But they are on the whole just better than
Oh
what
yeah.
Fox Sports.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
like
10 times. 20.
Fox is doing some good stuff. Like the booth right now with them going swapping out people every couple of weeks. I like that. It
Right.
feels fresh. The people they're getting, Matt Kenseth, Danica, Gordon, Chad Knaus, Tony Stewart's
Right.
been very good.
Right.
Like, if only you weren't like a team owner, this you would be just great with this being your full time job. Um,
Right.
like the booth feels more relevant, more informed and informative since like the mid 2000s.
Right.
In my personal opinion.